Participants, please hold for a while. Sir has some internet issues that he's working out on. We'll start the session soon.
వాళ్ళ వాయిస్ కనపడలేదు మాట్లాడలేదు మేడం మై వాయిస్ ఇస్ ఆడిబుల్ ఇది మౌస్ ఇదే షేర్ చేద్దామా మేడం మై వాయిస్ ఇస్ ఆడిబుల్
Yes, sir, very much audible, sir.
Thank you.
Are we good to go, sir? A very good morning to all the participants and our session speaker, Dr. L. Koteshwar Rao Garu, to the day 3 of Innovations, Research and Development Skills. Dr. L. Koteshwar Rao Garu currently is the principal, College of Engineering, KL University, Hyderabad, Vanchpalli. Sir has done his BTech in ECE from JNTU College of Engineering, Kakinada, India, and Master of Engineering from Andhra Pradesh, Andhra University College of Engineering, Visakhapatnam, India. He has obtained his PhD from JNTU, Hyderabad. Sir was deputed to UK for a period of 3 years on research assignments, where he has pursued his interests on topics like computer vision, IoT, and machine learning. He has more than 40 research papers in various journals of highest repute and in 15 international conferences. Sir also holds 6 patents and he has authored 2 books. And he's also an author of PI of 2 industry consultant projects. Sir is an active speaker in various FDP's conferences as keynote speaker and guest sessions across India. He has a total of 21 years of experience where he has pursued various roles in the Department of ECE, starting from assistant professor to the head of ECE. Sir would like to address all of us on the topic electronics projects towards entrepreneurship development today for a period of 1 hour 15 minutes. Over to you, sir. And I humbly thank you for accepting our request in spite of your busy schedule and addressing our participants. Thank you very much, sir. Over to you. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, thank you, madam. Thank you very much for the introduction. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very much audible. Would you be sharing your screen, sir?
Yeah, I'm just doing it. Madam, it requires some permission. Can you please ask the host to permit?
Yes, yes. He's there online. He'll be giving you the permission. Kasim, sir, I hope you're there online.
Already given as a co-host.
So you are the co-host and hence all the permissions are there. So you can start sharing the screen. So.
Madam, is my screen visible? Is my screen visible, ma'am?
Yes, sir, it is visible, sir.
Thank you. First of all, I take this opportunity to thank Gokaraj Rangaraj Institute of Engineering and Technology for the opportunity given to me. I really appreciate the efforts of Department of EC for lot many FDPs, lot many programs from government agencies. That's a wonderful effort from all the faculty members, especially the HOD and the program coordinators. I'm thankful for the opportunity. Earlier also, this is the time to talk about electronic projects for entrepreneurship, which is really the need of the hour. I take this opportunity to many of the students with whom I work with, or my colleagues who have given some valuable insights about this topic. The topic is duly recognized and duly identified for the current scenario. You know very well how the electronics and communication engineering requires the attention of the society at this moment, especially where there is a lot of unexpected demand for computer science and related fields. So, as a rightly, as I already told, that it's rightly identified and rightly noted the topic as electronic projects for entrepreneurship. So, first of all, most of us know very well that the electronics is continuously changing. It's not like every field, not electronics. Every field is changing continuously, not just one. Why should we take reason? What are the reasons for choosing entrepreneurship in electronics? These are the four aspects that we look at entrepreneurship in electronics. First is innovation and impact. We'll talk about it later in detail. And second one is the market demand. And the third one is technological advancements. The fourth one is collaboration and interdisciplinary. These are the main reasons why somebody should choose or know about the role of entrepreneurship or the possibility of entrepreneurship in the field of electronics engineering. So, first one is I'll just talk about innovation. Sorry. This is what. There is some issue. Just please hold on. First one is innovation impact. If you see that electronic projects allow you to create innovative solutions, most of the solutions are coming in the society from the field of use cases, where someone says that I developed some a software code, and where that software code will go, or something is in the form of a code in a normal form language, high-level language. So how that will be into the real form, a product form. That use cases will come in the field of electronics primarily. So that's where the concept of innovation is coming into picture. Innovation is not just the coding itself. Innovation is something which is taking some physical shape to a product. So what is the impact? How much is the impact of an innovation? You can't say it is an innovation unless otherwise it has some societal impact. That's the reason why innovation should always have an impact on the society, especially the people's life. When you design something or when you develop something, how much is the impact of that product on the society, or very specifically on the people's life? It can be anything. It can be developing a device, a smart device. You know very well about smart device, or some healthcare monitoring system, or some energy efficient system. These are the broad sense. I can say that in a broad sense, these are the things where you can think of entrepreneurship. Before that, innovation. Both are not same. Innovation is, of course, innovation is the first phase. Then comes the entrepreneurship. So innovation, how that is impacting is the first point of discussion here. So I mean to say, summarize, what is the role of an innovation on the people's life? Is the first point and summary. So next is market demand. There is a lot of growing demand of electronic products and services today. You may be knowing it. Especially the electronics is everywhere you see, you book you order something, you search internet for something, more one way or the other way, it's linked to an electronic product. So you can say that electronic products are again driven by the consumer. We can say that we are in consumer-driven society. May it be an automation, or it can be a society's lens on electronics. These are all the demand every day, every minute. You know that how the demand for electronics products is increasing. So how can you develop a sustainable business model based on the demand from the consumers, or you can say customers or consumer? I would say consumer rather than a customer. So by tapping on this demand, how can you build a sustainable business that meets the needs of the market? Is the second point. That's a summarized point, market demand. When you develop any electronic product, and what is the consumer demand for it? So how can you tap the demand for it? It doesn't mean that you develop some product and it stopped. It is not meeting the consumer demand, or it's not even attracted by the consumer. Then you can't say that a suitable entrepreneurship model. The next one is third one, technological advancements. When you say that advancements, most of the things we can say that major breakthroughs, how many advancements are happening, and that excitement should be advancement should be exciting. You can't say that something is advanced unless otherwise it is exciting. So these technological advancements must be embraced into your projects, and you can make your product into a market. So advancements should have some excitement also, and these breakthroughs should make you and provide you a competitive edge compared to others, and that should position on any entrepreneur in the market. Unless suppose there is some small product which has no maybe requiring some small improvement, by doing so you can easily get the attraction, you can easily attract the consumer. That's how your advancements are getting some benefits, or getting some competitive edge over the others. And next one is collaboration and interdisciplinary. People are talking about this interdisciplinary for many years. Collaboration also, of course. Electronic projects are not exactly electronic projects. they require a lot of collaboration from other domains. They require a lot of collaboration or interaction from other departments. You know very well. Just now I told, if you take a computer science engineering or computer science or engineering, both are different. Computer science is different and engineering is different in my perspective. So when you say that something is there, so how these fields are collaborated to create some interdisciplinary environment, computer science, engineering, design, and business, including business. We always miss in the current scenario, we always miss the business angle of a product. We stop being an engineering institution or being engineering community. Sometimes we miss the last part of the cycle, that is business. We always stop at computer science, we always stop at engineering or design, and sometimes we may miss the business. So this interdisciplinary approach, you combine a business model, you combine a design, you combine engineering, you combine computer science and electronics. All together, if you combine all these fields and create a new environment, a new ecosystem that becomes interdisciplinary, and that definitely widens your horizons, and it provides a lot of teamwork and, of course, collaborative skills, and which are the essential attributes for a successful entrepreneurship. To become successful entrepreneur, one should always have these skills, especially the collaboration skills and teamwork. Without that, it's very, very difficult. Sometimes may face problems if you're not really a team player. Entrepreneurship is all about one person, 2 person, 3 person, 4 person meeting together, discussing together, and developing the firm or your entity, whatever way. So these are the 4 aspects, or what are the reasons why somebody look at electronic projects towards entrepreneurship. So what are the ideas, few ideas for electronic projects that one can think of being an electronics engineer? What are the ideas? Usually there may be ideas. You cannot, but to be very frank and precise, one cannot tell or explain 1 or 2 ideas and say that these are the ideas that anyone can think of. Ideas means there are so many ideas. It can be millions and billions of ideas coming from anyone. It can be a student, it can be an university professor, or it can be your friend, your family member, or even a layman. Sometimes idea is idea. When the idea is into a shape, then that is different. But ideas can be from different people, different sector. It can be a small kid, it can be a professor, it can be an old person, it can be anyone. So there are ideas, different ideas, a few ideas for electronic projects, which you can think of when you are planning or when you are collaborating for some sort of entrepreneurship models. First one, people always talk a lot of things, that is Internet of Things. And to be very, very particular about IoT, the moment someone sees that internet, people think that it is something closely related to computer science. But some people understand, or many people understand, that there is a lot of electronics involved in it. As you know very well, IoT, the moment you say IoT, there are a lot of other concepts like Internet of Everything also into the market, a lot of things. We don't talk about it. But very broader sense, we can talk about Internet of Things, which is Internet of Devices. Things, I mean to say, the devices is one idea. Most of the projects are coming in these days. These devices, IoT devices, are becoming very popular, very, very popular these days, very popular. And there are endless possibilities for innovation in this area. There is no end for it. you could develop a new IoT device that helps people with their daily lives, or you could develop a software platform that allows people to connect their IoT devices together. For many years, we have been hearing about IoT and technologies, related technologies. Still, there are huge opportunities. There are a lot of opportunities in this field. I can say a lot of opportunities. Every day, one thing is coming, one thing or the other thing is coming. That means there is a lot of space for projects in this area, IoT. Because this is not a regular one, because that's the reason we are not touching deep into it. We are just moving on the entrepreneurship model where anyone can think of developing some projects and making some projects into some next level and so on. So this is one important area of projects. Then comes wearable devices, wearable devices. When you say wearable devices, or you can say that a new wearable device, every day people are talking about, I have walked this much distance and my movement is this much. Especially the current generation is always watchful about their fitness. Of course, every generation for that matter. So when you wearable device, it can be to monitor your pulse rate, it can be to monitor your heartbeat, whatever, and even your blood pressure, even everything of your physical condition and medical condition of a regular or a healthy human being, or someone who is not well, someone who is hospitalized, anything. There are a lot of scopes for in this domain, as they're all considered to be electronic devices. Still, you can't say there is no other argument about it. So there are a lot of opportunities in wearable devices sector. This is another area of rapid growth. You could develop a new wearable device that tracks fitness data, or you could develop a device that helps people with disabilities. This is the need of the hour, as I can say. The first point when we talk about in the beginning slide, how much is the impact of your innovation? How much is you become an entrepreneur? Is it only for business model, or is it really for the society? So that's where when someone talks about any product, they say that this is useful for, if they say that this is useful for machines, that may not catch up, or that may not be attractive. But the moment someone says that my idea can help someone with disabilities or physically challenged people, that will really help. That will really help the community, the public, to utilize it and get a better and better lifestyles. It's not about lifestyle. It's all about the possibility to overcome their disabilities. Someone who cannot see, if they can see the world with some other mode, if someone who cannot walk fast, if they can walk faster along with others, someone who cannot write, if they can write with some means, all these are all, someone is having disabilities, how your innovation is helping someone to come out of it through this model of this type of devices. We can count them as wearable devices. And next field is robotics. People see, that people always talk about robotics. Many times people say that current generation is, coming years, few years, is going to be robotics. Yes. Everybody looks at robotics again as a combination of core 3 interdisciplinary domains: mechanical, electronics, and of course computers. So when you say that robotics is another important field where you can think of, it is also one of the rapidly growing field, and there are endless possibilities for innovation in this field too. People are using robots for many years. Even in many houses, you can see the robot which is used for regular room cleaning, a lot of things. It has its presence in many houses these days. You can see a robot for multiple purposes, and people are also thinking about humanoid robot, where you can see how the humanoid can do wonders in many fields where human beings cannot enter. This is another broad area where you can think of creating some projects or getting some projects into it. This is one important area. And next is smart home automation. So the moment when you talk about any developed nation or even countries like us, where there is a huge scope for automation, a system that allows homeowners to control various aspects of their homes through a centralized smart device. So if you think of about 15 years back, or even more than that, like even 17 years back, people were talking about a smart home where you don't need to open a key, use a key to open your door. You don't have to depute some watchman for it. You don't have to switch on device. The moment you walk into your house, you get your lights on, you get your air conditioner on, all this. So these are all, there are a lot of scopes. See, these not one or two examples which I can say. It's very difficult to tell one or two areas or one or two domains where the automation is linked, but there are huge number of space, huge number of applications are still due where for development. Still there is a lot of scope for the people to develop project. So you could develop a new robot that helps people. That's what it is. That develop robotics, but you cannot use the robot unless otherwise there is some process called automation. You cannot go to a robot and every time you can't drive the robot. Again, robotics is also taking help of automation, but not home automation. So this is separate. This is different from a typical robotics perspective, but we can sometimes see that most of the automations are done by that, but home cannot have multiple robots. That's the reason why I've just taken up this point of robotics. First, I have touched this IoT, then wearable devices. Most of them are again some sort of interlinked. And then robotics and home automation, one thing. Then comes sustainable energy solutions. So people always thinking these days about sustainable energy because you can't depend on the regular models of petrol or diesel or other models, other ways, other resources, we'd say very specifically, or other resource of energy. And the time has come for the countries to look at something like sustainable energy solutions. Again, there also the electronic devices, electronics engineering plays a vital role. Design an electronic system, harness renewable energy resource sources and promote sustainability. Most of the times, the moment you use something, it should not, it should not be destroyed. It should again be there for a long time, and it should be there for next generations too. That's where we should always work out. So next is the most important one, that is healthcare monitoring devices. Though the words and terminology looking similar in all these cases, but fortunately all of them are interlinked sometimes or closely related in few cases. So healthcare monitoring devices also finding a lot of scope or providing a lot of scope for the entrepreneurs, especially the students or the community which is having a lot of knowledge about electronics engineering. So healthcare monitoring devices again, that's what it is. Electronic wearable devices that monitor vital signs, revolutionizing the personal healthcare management. It's not about fitness here. It is about other things. Healthcare, fitness and healthcare are again different in this context. So these are all some of the areas where someone can think of projects. And coming to the entrepreneurship, because we are talking about electronic projects, we have just seen the areas where there is a scope for electronic projects. So coming to the first one is IoT, then wearable devices, then robotics, and smart home automation, and sustainable energy solutions. These are only broad one. There may be, as I told you, the beginning of the talk, that it's always very difficult to make 1 or 2 points or few points only as the projects areas where their projects are available. Every idea can be thought of, can look into a different angle, how we can make this idea into a project and something else. So but broadly, there should be some very close points. That's the reason I have made only these areas as the space, as the areas or the possibilities for electronic projects. So next is sustainable energy solutions. I think I've told already. And then what are the entrepreneurial venture is not like, so many times people always talk about I'm an entrepreneur. When someone starts a firm, initially they face a lot of challenges. It's not about the idea, how that idea can be converted into a product, and then how you can make it the product. Now can you become an entrepreneur with that product? So this is another very important aspect. How a student, suppose myself, I have one project with me. Suppose I have one project with me with my students. So can my project be converted, or can my project be given a shape or a product? Once the product is done, how that can go into the market? Once it goes to the market, how can I make a money or something like it? And how can become an entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur? It's not so easy. You see, every year, lot of startups, thousands of startups, even in the case of Telangana state, there are 4,000 plus startups, suppose, if you assume, not exactly, but roughly about. So if there are so many startups, all those startups may not travel for a long time. Definitely, there are some challenges. I'm talking about the electronics industries, electronics and print. So being an electronics professor, I got a wonderful opportunity. Many times I got opportunities to interact with many companies in and around Hyderabad and Bengaluru who really did well in the past, like 10 years back and even before, 15 years. And as the time progresses, there are a lot of challenges and they are struggling now. So they were entrepreneurs, they are entrepreneurs, but not sure how long they'll continue the journey of entrepreneurship. They're all electronics companies. They're all electronic based ideas. Some companies are still trying to venture into other areas. Suppose, as I told you, one important aspect we missed in earlier project areas is agriculture. So even these days, people are talking about a lot of electronic devices into agriculture. So earlier, only electronics was there. Now, if you can combine some of the communication aspects, people started using the electronics and communication devices into agriculture also. Agriculture is another important domain where, because that's not a commercial model, where in India, we are not really commercializing the agriculture as of now. That's the reason we cannot include a lot of commercial or other aspects into agriculture. So, but still there is a lot of scope for electronics projects, electronics ideas, which can help the farmers, which can help the field of agriculture to get a high yield, to come out of the diseases or some related to plants and other things, which is again the need of the hour, where people are saying that when there is a crop of suppose 1 hectare, suppose, out of which all entire land of the farm field, it may not be giving good yield. Definitely, there is a need for some pesticides or some other models, which is again taking the help of technology these days. There also again, people are using the combined technology. May it be automation, may it be robotics, may it be some other, but one way or the other way, these are all the forms of electronic products. These are all the forms shaped out from the core electronics or even communications. So, what are the principles that for an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur should think of? That's a common perspective, though I'm not an entrepreneur, but by talking to many entrepreneurs, talking to many startups, as I told you, many of them struggling. Every time they say that the products which we take, usually we get it from other countries, neighboring countries, but sometimes we don't get it. That is the one reason. Earlier, we used to get the product, we used to get the components and assembly here. That's one business that we used to do. Then this assembling business also stopped. Likewise, every time they ask, whenever I ask them for some sort of projects, real projects, I'm not talking about other projects, real projects. That's the comment they make, saying that electronics industry, I'm talking about not so high level top industries. I'm talking about mid-range companies, which are based out of Hyderabad or even Bengaluru. These mid-range companies are still having some problems with the ongoing trend of electronics, especially the shortage of components to import from other countries. Hopefully, in future, due to the initiatives from the governments, local governments and central government, within a couple of years, maximum by 2-3 years, you can see some a jump in the electronic industry. 100%, there is a lot of hope going on around. When I interact with a lot of people these days, everybody is 100% confident that within 2 years' time, electronics will again will be in the forefront. So in this aspect of entrepreneur journey, first one is you have to identify. You means anyone who is having some ideas, they have to think of, identify a problem. So first is find a real world problem or a pain point that your project aims to address. I've just mentioned at the beginning, what is the real world problem? Real world problem means, suppose anything, it cannot be one thing, as I told you. What is the real world problem and what is the pain point? If it is smooth, you can't say that's a need. If you something is smooth, so that's not a problem. That's not a problem. Suppose I'm able to talk to you continuously for 6 hours. That's not a problem. If I cannot talk, if you cannot talk for even 5 minutes, that's a problem. So in both the cases, you have to see in a different perspective and different views, where you can't say that both are needed. Both are need of the work. Sometimes when students or someone say that this is the need, this is the need, you should always see whether it is needed or it's really pain point. Then only you should aim at a project, whether your project can address it or not. So understanding the needs of your target audience is crucial for creating a viable and impactful solution. That is again very crisply, what I mean to say is, when there is a problem and which is pain the society or some persons or something, then you have to understand who is your target audience first. When you are developing some project, You can't say in a generic sense that, yeah, this can be suitable for anyone. You can't say like, if you are telling something is for anyone, that means that's not a big problem. Can't be anything. It has to be with a specific direction, specific targeted audience. Who is your audience, target audience? You need to identify the problem, and with respect to all this, and can you create an impactful solution for it? When there is a problem, of course, every problem should have a solution at the end. And can you provide a viable and impactful solution? A viable and impactful solution. This is one thing. The second thing is, once you are done with it, the step one, then you go for prototype and test. People always say that I have an idea, but very few people can go to the next step. Very few people, random, if you can say, even your BTech students or MTech students, they say, I have developed this project, something. When you ask the prototype, people stop. They say that prototype development is something which is not related to the academia, something like that. That is a wrong perception we are in. The institutions also should think of enabling the students to develop some prototypes at small level, if not in bulk level. So that's again is another point of discussion in these days. The prototype and test, both are necessary, both are mandatory, where you have to build prototype of your electronic projects and test them rigorously to ensure functionality. It's not about developing. Can you test it for multiple times? Rigorous. Every time you say, when you see a product, when you see a laptop or when you see some electronic device, it is always mentioned as quality checked. So that is industry level, high level. When there is a product or something, it is mandatory for a testing. Quality test passed or not. So when quality test is there, suppose if there is some pen, the quality testing of the pen should be like for in multiple aspects. Can the pen be dropped from 10th floor? Can the pen write like this? Can the pen be broken? All these multiple aspects in a pen perspective. If it is a phone, you know very well how phone makers specify this. This phone is water resistant. This phone can be dropped from 10th floor, 100th floor. Nothing will happen. This is what the remarks made of the tests. Build prototypes of your electronic projects and test them rigorously to ensure functionality, efficiency, and very importantly, the user friendliness. When you develop some product, the product is not user friendly. Obviously, you will have something to change immediately. As long as when it is developed for something and it is not being an user friendly, then I don't think that is good. So iterate on your designs based on feedback and continuously improve your solutions. So you need to iterate your design, whatever design 1, design 2, design 3, design 4. Kind of you can iterate multiple times with multiple types of designs, variations in your designs, and then you take the feedback. So when you design something, you should always get a feedback from your target audience or your different people, sectors where you are aiming at, what you are aiming at. So this is one design based on the feedback. And once the feedback is received, then you try to improve it continuously. Your solutions, improve that continuously. Your design can be improved. There is no end for one specific design. You can always have multiple designs and multiple tests every time you can think of. The next is business model development. Business model development is the third one, which you can think of. as entrepreneurs, it's essential to have a clear understanding of your business model. What is your business model? Consider the revenue streams. What are the segments of customer? And what are the various channels of distribution and partnerships? These are all necessary for any electronic projects to enter the market. So most of the projects, electronic projects, are sometimes students develop a very good project, but they don't go to the next level. They stop at the lab level, or they stop at the project level. They submit to the department HOD and they stop, they close it. They get the full marks for their wonderful projects, but they are not reaching the outside. But after some time, the student may be surprised to see the similar idea is getting new attention in the market. So that's where the students who are developing, sometimes we should also think of facilitating them to move towards the prototype and testing, and then towards the business model development. That is possible when you, obviously, when you involve a collaborative works, when you involve some other disciplines. As I told you, which point we miss usually is the business. So the business students also should be included to understand the model, what is developed in the laboratory itself. So as entrepreneurs, it is essential to have a clear understanding of your business model, and then revenue streams, and then customer segments, distribution channels, and partnerships necessary to bring your electronic projects to the market. And the next is the funding and resources. Funding and resources, very challenging thing is this, is the key point, funding and resources. When someone has an idea, and it's always difficult to attract the fund for it. You never know how it will go, because previous points we have seen, identify a problem, that's fine, but how someone can build a prototype of an electronic project, and how to test, what are the test equipments, because developing prototype is one thing, and testing rigorously is another thing. For both of these parts, you require a lot of equipment, sometimes equipment or other components, which may be difficult for an entrepreneur or starting point, at the starting point as a startup. So that is again the biggest challenge, very, very big challenge, where people face this challenge. After some time, they give up, feeling that I cannot do this. And I think it's very difficult for me to go forward. That's the mindset that the person gets at some point of time, especially when the funding is not available from any corner. That's the reason government is taking different steps, various good steps at various government level, encouraging the youngsters or someone who can develop some small projects or products in Make in India concept. If it is really implemented, the government's, a lot of agencies are coming forward to fund the ideas. The investor says that angel investors are someone who would like to fund. They say that the ideas are not coming. The other side of the coin, the entrepreneurs or the people who have some ideas feel that there is no funding. But standing at exactly the center, you can always see that there is always a possibility to get the funding if your idea is really viable and feasible. It's not all ideas may not be turning into a product, but if your idea is really truly strong and good enough, 100% possibility is there to get funding from any private agencies or even a lot of government agencies. Due to the government of India's initiatives, even the local government is also supporting a lot of entrepreneurs to start their ventures. If you go and see in local government tier 2.0. That's really amazing. I visited multiple times. That shows that the support is from all corners. If your idea is really good enough to move forward. So there is always a scope and you need to explore. Of course, again, this also comes through the collaborators. Then seek out funding opportunities and leverage the resources available to you. So very important thing is the academic institutions. If you observe the model of any country outside India or any foreign country universities, they have been doing it for many generations, many decades, where the companies are coming on the campus. That's what they call it as companies on campus these days. So companies on campus, if you can imagine the ecosystem where some space is provided for incubators, they call it as an incubation cell. Very frankly, the word is used everywhere in any organization across the country, but unfortunately, sometimes we are missing it. We are not really focusing on the incubation cell at university level. At the university level, when suppose an university having some 5,000 students, so proportionately, if not 10%, if not 10%, even if 1% comes, you can think of how many will come as the companies out of the campus itself. So campuses also should see what is the support that they provide is in the form of funding and resources. If you cannot fund it, you can also think of providing some resources for these projects. You don't need to fund always in lakhs and crores, but you can still provide some space for them, for the incubators. And even some universities do give grants for the ideas, or even if you are okay with it, you can start some startup in our university campus premises itself. And for this is a grant that the university offers. And very wonderful opportunity that universities can provide, where normal entities cannot provide, is through the old students, alumni and old students, they can always connect the companies easily. They call it as industry partnerships. Suppose a graduate from an university moves out, and then he or she starts some own firm. And through them also, you can have some startup partnership or industry partnership at various levels. So this is one other area where funding is also there. As I told you, it is not about always funding. It's not about funding. It is also about the resources, how the resources are utilized. That is another important aspect of entrepreneurship. You may be having a lot of funding, but if there are no people, there are no collaborations, that may not work well. But if you have less funding, but a lot of people are there, resources are there, where you know how to leverage the resources, definitely that will become a successful entrepreneurship model. So there are always trade-offs here. So is it really the funding matters, or is it really the resources matter? But in my perspective, both are important. But at the same time, both are not the only important aspects. So these can provide the necessary support and guidance to turn your ideas into successful ventures. If you just go and see the startups or any ventures, you go and see any university, you hardly find some, except in national level institutions funded by Government of India directly. Most of the institutions are still in the beginning phase. Fortunately, last few years, people are really concentrating on it, where some sort of ideas are taking the shape of some product, and then they are moving into ventures. And I can see a lot of people, especially in recent times, are moving. But that should not be one success story, like to share in one success story of one. But a true development of an electronic project into a product or some entrepreneurship can be appreciated. The number is huge, not 1, 2 from a university or an institution. When you say you have 1 or 2 startups from your institution, that is not really enough. When there are thousands of students graduating from our institutions, definitely there is a huge space for a lot of people to come out and start their startups. For that, the support has to be from the universities and academic institutions also, in addition to the governments. So I would like to summarize it, whatever has been discussed so far. So first thing is, these are the 4 aspects where somebody should focus upon. They really wanted to become an entrepreneur. And electronic projects offer a world of opportunities. It is really ocean of opportunity for aspiring entrepreneurs. And you need to combine a lot of things like innovation. You have to identify or calculate the market demand and technological advancements. And can you create solutions that have tangible impact on a society? Is it really tangible impact on the society? Can you just can this be an interdisciplinary model or interdisciplinary nature of electronic projects? If you spread this electronic, you don't need to focus very precisely on electronic project. You should always think of mixing number of domains. You should also think of mixing a mechanical, mixing computer science, mixing even other domains like chemical engineering or some other thing, civil engineering, whatever. So a lot of interdisciplinary approach should always be used here. And collaboration, as I've told just now, collaboration is another important and very key aspect where someone should talk of the collaboration with experts from various fields. Because you are at the beginning phase, there may be an expert in the same field, maybe working on different things. They might have tried this earlier, or they might be thinking of trying it again. If you talk to them, or if you discuss, or if you collaborate, it's not about discuss, it's always about collaboration. Both are different. So collaborate with experts from various fields and focus on problem solving and execution. So when the moment you talk to an expert, when you discuss with an expert and how the problem can be solved and how that can be executed. So that's one other aspects. Of course, apart from it, as a human being, as an entrepreneur, you should always have a lot of people say dedication for your idea to reach the market, a lot of perseverance. That's common qualities of human being, not as a technocrat, not as an entrepreneur. Also, these are some of the qualities that are required to become an entrepreneur. It can be an electronic project or it can be any other project with dedication, perseverance, the right mindset. That's again the important aspect. Definitely with these qualities, you can always build a thriving entrepreneurial career. Definitely you can always build anyone can build a thriving entrepreneurial career. In the current situation where there is a lot of fascination going on about electronic products, every day, every time people are talking about electronic, you talk some device, something, you take a car, there is an electronics in it. You take a mobile, there is an electronics in it. You take a computer, there is an electronics in it. You take any product, there is an electronics. There is electronics. That means there is always a scope for the development further and further. Ample of opportunities. There is no end for it. When you think of a small transistor in 1947, and then how it has evolved from a transistor to IC, and then slowly miniaturization and embedded systems, people are talking about. In spite of all this, it is surprising to see the situation outside. But as I told you earlier, definitely there will be a wonderful paths waiting for electronics engineers who would like to become entrepreneurs in coming years. With this, I would like to conclude my talk on this electronic projects and entrepreneurship. Open for any questions, please. Yeah, please.
Participants, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. You can post your questions in the chat box as well. Participants, are we good? Can you post questions in the chat box if you have any? Sir, I think there are no questions from the participants, sir.
That's okay, ma'am. Thank you. Anyway, there is one
Sir,
question.
sir, there's one question. There's one question that has come up, sir. How will be the VLSI area for student startup? What are the different domains where faculty or students can work on in the area of VLSI, sir?
Yeah. We have seen some of the aspects of VLSI growing up in recent times. Very importantly, in analog side or even mixed designs model, where without these design aspects, there is no embedded product. In future, definitely, there is no specifically entrepreneur of VLSI model, but as such, these VLSI should be used in any ideas, not specifically VLSI, but the application of VLSI can make you an entrepreneur in any model.
Yes, yes, VLSI and IoT, VLSI security, these are VLSI and 5G.
Correct.
These are the upcoming trends. So I guess the participants can broach in that area and try. Any other questions, sir? You can please write it to us and we will forward it to sir. And we will
They're open
get you an answer from sir.
Madam, they're open to meet me here. We are close to the
yes, yes, sir.
Vajpalli, this new campus started.
Sure.
Series of
yes, sir has given us all a no. Yes. Yes.
For any discussions kind
yes,
of
sir.
thing.
Thank you very much for that open invitation, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. And I thank you very much, sir, for detailing the different domains that are there in electronics, like IoT, robotics, and the one aspect that you have mentioned about reaching the community via the projects. This would also benefit the community as well as the faculty or the students who are pursuing the project. Thank you very much for the beautiful session, sir, and the guidance to all of us in order to approach for the project, sir. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And once again, I take this opportunity to thank the management of Kokaraj Rangaraj Institute of Engineering and Technology for all the initiatives, which very few colleges are doing these days. And appreciation goes to the Department of ECE. And I'm really happy about the great things happening in your department. And I wish you all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. Kasim sir, can you detail about the next session, please?
Madam, next session will start at 11 o'clock. We'll wait for the next speaker to
join. Participants can take a quick break of 5 minutes. The next session will start at 11 o'clock and please be available by then. And it would be appreciable if all of you can ask a few questions, because the faculty or the resource person is preparing for quite a long time before delivering their lecture to us. I know online mode is easy, but I guess all of us should make complete utilization of these sessions because they're coming to our doorstep and we've been detailed about various opportunities. I'd appreciate if you're all proactive and ask a few questions to the guests. That would also actually encourage them to do more sessions of this. Thank you again. We'll get back within 3 minutes. A very good morning, madam. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Are we good to start the session, ma'am, with your permission?
Yeah, sure. We can do that. I hope all are ready.
Yes, we have the participants.
Okay.
Right, ma'am. I'll just give a brief intro about you before we start the session so that the participants understand where you come from. Very good morning, one and all. Welcome to the session 2 of day 3 for the DST sponsored FDP on innovations, research and development skills. The speaker that we have today is Ms. Josna Cherugaru. She is the founder director of CMAC India Private Limited and also the president of CO, which is Confederation of Women's Entrepreneurs in Telangana. Ms. Josna Cherugaru is a civil engineer graduate with MBA in HR and that MBA is in behavioral trainer. And she has more than 20 years of experience as an entrepreneur, where she has started by establishing her company CMAC, which is into manufacturing of vertical material handling, construction equipment, which is used for carrying men and material for high-rise constructions like construction lift, hoists, etc. And she has a presence all over Pan India and also in Middle East. We'd be very happy to know that CMAC is one of its kind of the manufacturing unit in the entire of Telangana, which comes under the Make in India promotion. I congratulate you for that, ma'am. Serving more than 300 plus top class infra and manufacturing companies and working with global partners, Ms. Josna had an experiential learning of what it takes to build successful organizations. Ms. Josna also closely works with China Building Research Academy, Beijing, in bringing upgraded technology to meet the material handling needs of Indian construction industry. She's also, as mentioned earlier, she's also associated with COWE, which is Confederation of Women Entrepreneurs, for over a last decade, where she has held various management positions. She's very passionate about promoting entrepreneurship amongst the women and the youth, and is also for entrepreneurship development. As a very good guest speaker, she interacts with the academic institutions in motivating students and also interacts with rural women to develop entrepreneurial skills as a part of nation building activity. She is awarded the Best Entrepreneur by CO for the years 2014 and 2015, and was also a recipient of the prestigious Vishwakarma Award for the year 2016. She is presently on the advisory board of Construction Infrastructure Development Council, a NITI Aayog wing. With this huge profile of yours, ma'am, we welcome you to GRIT to deliver the session on civil engineering importance in entrepreneurship development. We are very honored to have you with us now. Thank you very much for being with us today. If you can share the screen.
Yeah, hello. So
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
I'll just begin with sharing the screen. Just a second.
Yeah. We're good.
Just 1 second.
Yes, ma'am. No issues.
Yeah, so good morning, everyone. Once again, and I'm so happy that there is so much of work happening in terms of innovation and technology, especially in the field of entrepreneurship. Um, yeah, I hope you can see the screen, right?
Yes, yes, ma'am. We can see.
Yeah. Now, see,
Ma'am,
generally,
if you could just put it in the slideshow mode,
sure,
presentation
I'll do
mode.
that. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, you're able to see it now? Just 1 second.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, hello. Yeah, so well, before I start talking anything about civil engineering, or before I talk anything to do with, there is a lot of buzz going on nowadays about the entrepreneurship. What I would suggest is somewhere there is so much of a thrust on people becoming entrepreneurs, but for that, am I ready? Do I have the right mindset to become an entrepreneur? Not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. But there are certain qualities or certain attributes which we all, irrespective of whether you start your own business or you go and work somewhere, but certain attributes that always makes us stand apart, makes us become more confident, and what I would say is give success in our profession is a entrepreneurial mindset. So I would definitely, before I go into what is civil engineering, what are the, sorry, not what civil engineering, I'm saying what are the features that are available in civil engineering in terms of entrepreneurship, I would like to definitely focus a little more on what it means to be an entrepreneurial mindset. Yeah. So already so much of intro has been given by madam, so I don't want to repeat it. So these are about our equipment. So I just thought these are the kind of equipment we make, construction equipment. So if you look at these, there is a nuclear power project being built in Bangladesh where they have the cooling towers. And for the cooling towers, to reach the cooling towers, you require equipment to go onto the top, because each cooling tower will be about 150 to 190 meters. So hope civil engineering students know the meaning of 190 meters. So when we have such kind of heights, reaching out to such heights, doing work, maintaining the cooling towers becomes a huge task in terms of material handling and manpower movement. So there we are providing something called as the curved hoist. These are the curved hoists. And then we have something called as, you all must have seen the Durgam Cheru. Even in Durgam Cheru also, there is water down and there is a bridge that is getting constructed to do work under the bridge, and to reach out and do the plumbing activity, to suspend the wires, and to do the maintenance activity. If there is no water, the height is not so much. You can just put a crane, go up and then do the work and come down. But because of the water downstairs, we were given a task by L&T to design an equipment, and we have designed a special equipment which helped. It's an electromechanical equipment which helped to run through the span of the bridge, entire span of the bridge, so that it will come down and then it will move vertically, and it will move horizontally as well as vertically. So that's the kind of equipment which we have given, which helps people to start moving from one end and go under the bridge, do all the plumbing activities, electricals, maintenance, everything. And the another prestigious project which we have done, because see, before I go into actual topic, just want to say what kind of work we do. So that's where I'm trying to say. You all know Kaleshwaram project. I hope as civil engineers, you must have visited the project, or you must get an opportunity to visit the project. It's basically a lift irrigation scheme. So in lift irrigation, what happens is one needs to get down up to almost like in Kaleshwaram, it's almost like I think 130 to 150 meters deep down. People had to go to reach out to the pump house. You all know, right? So how the dams go. I don't know. When I was studying engineering, we were taken to Nagarjuna Sagar Dam, Srisailam, and then we also went to Hubli. So all these dam visits happened for us. So I know it. So the pump house is 150 meters down, and to reach to that level inside, we have customized equipment for them, which is a circular platform. So along the lift irrigation well, the equipment moves up and down, and then it goes to reach the pump house, where men can travel very safely, and also material can be taken up and down. So these are a few of the prestigious projects, which why I'm mentioning this is, then there is some other project where we are using the precast panel movement. See, nowadays the trend is to have precast constructions, but how you can, how they are very heavy. So how you can move them in construction sites, which are 10 floors, 20, 30 floors. So it becomes a huge task to move the precast panels from ground level to those high levels. So also we have designed special equipment which will help people to move the man and material. Okay, so these are a few intro about the kind of work we do. Our factory is in Cherlapalli. I invite any of the students who want to come have a look at the factory. We are absolutely open for it. So this is a basic intro about our projects that we do. And then of course the regular passenger and material hoist for any high rise where people can travel and material also can travel. So I'm giving this intro because basically all are civil engineers, and in civil engineering, while you construct the project, it's very important to check how and where the men and material movement can happen safely. And also speedily. So because now, you know, now speed is the name of the game. So and everybody is constructing 20 plus floors. So how do you carry men and material? So this is where our company comes into picture. Now I will just go to a few of the things about the entrepreneurship or enterprising mindset. So far, having spoken about my company, anybody has anything to say or share? Because it's like just recording a session kind of thing for me if people don't respond. So I want at least in the chat box for people to at least chat something that what they understood or what they want to see. So that makes it a little better for me. Especially the students, I would invite them to please keep putting in the chat box. So I know that you are really present in the session and you are not just muting and video off and then going away.
Madam, many of them are faculty.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hello. So you're on mute. I'm not able to hear anything. Oh, the session is only for faculty, is it? Okay, right, sir. We got it. But okay, fine. I thought it is for the students, but if it's only for faculty, that's also fine, sir. Yeah. So now coming to, then I don't know whether I should talk about entrepreneurial mindset, because I thought this is for students basically. So anyway, so what I would suggest is, when we are talking to students in the EDP cell also, it doesn't matter whether people start the enterprise on their own, or whether they want to be working somewhere, but there are certain qualities that are very important to be imbibed right at a very professional age itself. So a few of the faculty things that I would suggest would be so what I would suggest is, first thing is, for any person, jaisa chal raha waise chalne do type of attitude is something which we need to watch out, because definitely that's not acceptable because of the kind of competition and the pace that we are facing outside the world. So a passion to succeed, one needs to be a self-starter, and because they are young, there has to be some amount of a risk-taking ability and some amount of a decision-making. So we need to watch out what kind of decisions we make in our lives, and what is the impact of such kind of decisions. It can be a smallest decision, or it can be a very biggest decision, but it's very important. At the same time, what kind of risk do we take? Like, is it is it calculated risk, or is it like just a very open gallo deepam type of risk that we are taking? So these kind of things also are very, very important for entrepreneurial mindset to develop. And as we all know, today's world is a VUCA world. VUCA world is, in the sense, it's a very volatile, and it's very uncertain. There is a lot of complexities, and there's an ambiguity. If you look at, like, today morning itself, I was listening to a news that there is a flyover that has fallen down in near LB Nagar, whatever is being built with the flyover that's connecting to the Nagarjuna Sagar road. So what I'm saying is, like, whatever could be the reason behind, but there is so much of volatility that happens thanks to the media, or thanks to these things, that immediately things get blamed on to the person who doesn't even know that such things can happen. Like, it's not the designers, it could not be the designer's fault, or it could not be the execution fault. It could be just some labor negligence that can happen, and also can lead to a lot of volatility inside. And if you look at the kind of uncertainties that we all are facing, nobody can be a bigger learner than all of us who have faced what is called as a COVID. So we all know the kind of uncertainties we all go through in our own lives, especially post-COVID. We know what it means to be a VUCA world. And there is a complexity in the things are not as simple as it used to be. I'm sure as faculty, you all know, like, from where a very simple, like giving a lecture and making sure people understand the subject, to today, you all are conducting so many seminars. You have to do so many things beyond the faculty that was expected to do about, I would say, about 20-25 years back, when we were studying the kind of expectations from the faculty to the kind of expectations from the faculty today. If you look at, there's a lot of complexity, because of whether it is the norms of the government, or whether it is the expectations from the students or from the management. There are not many complexities that are attached to our own works. It may be any field, anywhere, the complexities have increased. It's no more 2 + 2 = 4. That kind of a simplicity is not existing for all of us. And ambiguity, of course, we don't know, like, what's going to come out of this. There are so many works which we are doing, but we don't know the answer. I mean, they're still very confusing. They're not very clear for us. The path is not very clearly laid out for us, like earlier days. So this is how the VUCA world is. And preparing the students for this kind of a VUCA world is definitely a challenge for self as well as for the students themselves. Now, I will speak a little about the kind of scope and things that are there in civil engineering itself. So for any business, like, I'm an entrepreneur, right? So for me, if you ask me, how do we see the market potential? How do you know what's happening in the market? So one of the best ways to look at the market potential is to go through the yearly budget, what our finance minister presents. So if you look at the budget this year, if you take what was presented on February 1st, there is about, I think, 10,000 crore plus money has been laid out for infrastructure development. So any infrastructure development, the buildings have to come in, with roads and buildings or tunnels or bridges or anything. So when they say infrastructure development, what goes inside the infrastructure can be a different thing, but at least first you have to have a container to hold them. So there's a lot of scope for infrastructure to develop in the coming 3 to 5 years. At least there is a roadmap for 2030. So till 2030, there's going to be huge growth path in India, especially when it comes to in infrastructure. And then now we are also hearing about smart cities, especially now the metros have become so saturated that now people are looking at tier 2 and tier 3 cities also. So in these cities, there's something called as a smart planning, whether it's a traffic management, whether it is the government provided infrastructure like the schools, colleges, or hospitals, or even if you look at the government provided housing facilities for the low income group. So in whichever way you take, there is a huge potential for civil engineering. And in the same budget, if you look at, there has been a thrust on environment protection. So now they don't want to pollute the environment anymore. With a population like India, which is now going to be world's #1, any small measure of pollution control also is going to have huge impact. Same way, any kind of a carelessness in terms of environment also is going to have a huge impact on the environment. So there is a huge outlay in the budget for environmental friendly projects. It can be just not the industries. I'm saying there's a lot of potential for civil engineering also to come out with some kind of a research in terms of what material will be more environmental friendly, or then the kind of constructions which are very natural, which will reduce the usage of ACs, or the kind of sewage systems that any city needs, or even individuals, how the STP functioning will happen, or the water resources. So all these in some way or the other are related to civil engineering, because we study the hydraulics also, and then we study the sanitation and things also. We study building materials, we study construction management. So it's like we have everything in our hands. So a bit of a research and a bit of thinking in that particular direction is what is very much needed, and this is the scope and opportunities that are lying. If you look at globally also, they are saying by 2030 there is going to be a $8 trillion dollar economy, which is going to be put up only in infrastructure growth, especially for civil engineers and construction industry, which are only 3 countries are going to play a major role: USA, China, and India. So that way we see that civil engineering, if you start anything, there's going to be huge potential. So why I'm saying is this has to give us some kind of a boost that, earlier it was like, people don't get a rank and they don't pick up computer science or electronics, and that's where they come to civil. And then immediately they go to do some software and then go to the companies to just work in anything, like, whether it's Accenture or Deloitte or whatever it is. But we have to, as faculty and as people who live in this civil engineering field, they have to boost the confidence of the people that there's so much of potential available to be in the same field, to develop our own knowledge in the same field, and to do some kind of bring in some kind of an innovative technology in this field. So same as I already spoken about, like, now building maintenance is also a big challenge with the multi-storied complex buildings coming up, whether it is MEP or whether it is the cleaning of the buildings, or just ensure that there is a free flow of everything that happens in a building, like, whether it's air or safety systems, or whether it is no issues with the plumbing or whatever it is. So there is a huge scope for building maintenance also. And as you all know, there are other regular faculties which are like, the estimation, costing, or the design and the project executions. And now another very upcoming field is the software in construction industry. So as every industry is upgrading itself, bringing in new technologies, so is the civil engineering. There are a lot of technologies, the drone technology, then the 3D printing or laser technologies, or the total costing estimation, project execution, design, everything is done through using just one click of a button. So developing that kind of a software. So this is also a huge potential now, especially now the drone technology is like, I know one lady from IIT Chennai, she started something called as a teaching how to run drones to the villages near Vikarabad. So she's picking up all the farmers and teaching them how to operate a drone, so that using the drone technology, they can use the fertilizers. They can find where there is a problem with the plant. So if there is any pesticides required, or any pesting is happening, or infection is happening to the plant, so they are using drone technology. Similarly, we can use the drone technology where it is high-rise constructions to know how the whole thing is functioning. So there are a lot of scope for such kind of things. Now I'll just take a break. I hope I'm in the same line as what you have expected out of this, or is there anything which I'm going out of the way? So can somebody please unmute themselves and answer me? Is it going in the same direction as what we have expected, or is it something different?
Sorry, madam and dear participants, there is a little disturbance due to the power.
Hello?
Hello, madam?
Yeah.
Yeah, because of power cut, there disturbance had happened. Please,
Okay.
Please continue.
No, I mean, I'll continue for next half an hour and close the session, but whatever I'm talking, is it making any sense? At least that much of a feedback I'm expecting from the faculty, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, madam. Sure.
Because is that what you have expected me to speak, or is there, I mean, you have some other expectations on what it is? So this is something which I would like to really understand.
The theme you are presenting is going fine.
Is okay? Yeah, thanks. So, and generally, I mean, as I told you, I expected that it will be for the students, but then nevertheless, it doesn't matter. So these are some of the areas and thrusts that can be given for various sectors in civil engineering. And another, traffic management is also a very important sector that needs a lot of work to happen, and a lot of software also is combined with that kind of a thing. Now comes the question that, in civil engineering especially, we are now fighting a lot for the engineers bill to be passed in the parliament. So, because any Mestri can come and just like that build a house, or anybody can just like that go and give you an estimate of what is happening and all that. So how a civil engineer is identified, or how the difference comes in. So anybody, like, as a woman entrepreneur, and I'm also associated with Confederation of Women Entrepreneurs, I see that a lot of women are there who are doing, like, in their mid-30s, mid-40s, who suddenly come and say, we studied, but because of family reasons, because of kids and all, we chose not to work, but now we want to start a business of our own. And generally, what kind of a businesses they start is, one is, of course, the food, because they know that they can make. So either they start a catering business or pickles or whatever. And some of the people, they start the sarees business because they think that is very easy. Some of them go into fashion designing. So these are 60 to 70% of the women pick up these businesses. So, and then some people are very good in art. So they make some corporate gifting items, some make jute bags and things like that. So when I talk to students and engineering side especially, I say, what is the difference that we as engineers bring in? Because that's very important for us to know. Like, what we are bringing in is something called as a technology. Something called as a innovative minds. Innovation can be there in any business with any woman, but what is the technology that we are trying to bring in? That's the most important differentiator. Like if a Mestri is doing a work and the same work a civil engineer is also doing, what is the difference he's bringing in? Is he bringing in more quality? Is he economizing the whole process? Or is he giving us some durability factor? Or what exactly is he doing is something which for everyone to question themselves and see, how am I bringing in the technology? Am I aware of whatever is the latest happening in this particular industry? Am I aware of these trends that are happening, that I bring in those and then show? Like, a small interior person also doing interiors for a small flat, as small as a 2-bedroom flat also. If he brings in a software where he can be able to visualize and show, then it always makes a difference. Because there are otherwise the normal carpenters, these Rajasthani carpenters who come and do the work. But that's not what we want. Right. So that's where the importance of technology, their innovative brains, and the usage of the technology. You may be studying so many things, but when it actually comes to practical, many people just forget that we have studied all these things. And then they just look for Me Too kind of a business when they have an interest to start a business. And most of them end up doing the contracting. So I'm saying contracting is not, contracting is one of the ways to get into the civil engineering, but there also one needs to see, how am I different from the others? It's like, just going for the regular government contracts through the tendering process, putting in and then getting one of the contracts and then start doing. There are so many contractors who don't know ABCs of civil engineering, but they have earned a lot by employing these civil engineers. But if the same engineer has an enterprising mind and he goes into what kind of a value addition he brings in, is something that as an engineer, how am I different, is one area that needs to focus. And another thing that comes most important in entrepreneurship for any field is, if people think if I go to an employment, I get 25,000, 30,000 or whatever it is. But if I do a business, maybe I get 35, 40. So if you measure a business equal to only the monetary benefits, or only to as a comparison between a job and an enterprise, maybe that's not the right approach. It's surely not. So one of the things that could be done is to have an elevated sense of purpose. This business is not just to fill my stomach. That can be only in the starting, but then we should have a bigger vision that, this is going to change the way things happen in particular this field, or it's going to be giving employment to so many people, or it's going to be the trendsetter in a particular business. So that kind of an elevated sense of purpose has to be there. And unless that kind of a sense of purpose is not there, the businesses are like, there are thousands and lakhs of startups that are coming because of the boosting that's happening at the college level with the ADP cells and all. And within 1 year, they just fall apart and people go back either to write GRE and go to US or just do a job, regular job. So why the startups are failing so drastically is because they are like, they are going with the kind of an enthusiasm, not doing 360 degrees work. And also main thing is that vision is not being fully developed. That sense of purpose. Why am I doing this? What am I going to achieve? How am I impacting a society? Because every business is a social entity. And every business, if it thrives, it is going to impact the society. So that kind of importance has to be given for the starting of the business. And these are the things which as technically qualified people, they have to think in also in terms of the technology that they bring in. Another thing which I always insist on is, many data, whatever I'm speaking, if you look at any surveys or any market surveys or any this thing that can be easily found on Google. So somebody Googles and then says, what are the latest trends in civil engineering? Or somebody says entrepreneurial opportunities in civil engineering. It can always be found. But what is so unique for any of our professional success, especially for an entrepreneur, if they have to be successful, there are 3 important parameters we all know. One is the knowledge. What am I supposed to do? What am I doing? What am I studying? So that kind of a know what. And skills, of course, we all know it is about how to do it. And an attitude is to know why am I doing it? What kind of a mindset do I have to do these kind of things? So basically this what, how and why, unless these aspects are clearly known, it doesn't matter if it's a business or it doesn't matter if it's an employment. But at least people know that, I'm doing it because I got only this job. I'm doing it because I know only this much. I know I do this only because I have only this ability to do. So these kind of awareness, self-awareness is very important, which most of us are like, we are so caught up in putting so much of efforts in only the materialistic things or only the outside things like, or did you do this assignment or did you pass through this or did you learn this? So we are focusing only on the result part of it. But in the process, how much am I becoming aware of what am I learning and what is the purpose of this learning? I think at least a 15 minutes of a reflection on a weekly basis also would help drastically for any individual to move from a regular employee or a regular person to somebody who will become a what I would say is a successful professional. So these are a few of the things which I always believed in and I continue to believe in. So another aspect is when I said about the knowledge, skill and the attitude aspects of it, I would say that as a student, as academia is basically about imparting the knowledge. Skill comes later as they keep working. It's like driving. So, first the basic rules of driving and you start driving on the roads, then you'll slowly pick up. Maybe today you go at 20 kilometers speed as an initial driver, but then slowly you know the skill, how to maneuver the traffic, you go faster. But then that's where your skill improves. But the academia has to focus more on filling the students with knowledge. But I know, unfortunately, that the first day the parents bring the students for counseling or even the student joins the college, the question first they ask is, what is the placement status? It's very unfortunate that they don't look at these 4 years, what my child is going to learn or how the things learning will happen. And colleges are also too busy to promise many things that, yeah, we have 100% placement. We have so many people developed here as entrepreneurs, or we have this and that. So what I'm trying to say is, how are we going to change this mindset and say that these 4 years of engineering is the only place or is the space where you have a pure knowledge that gets into your system. That's what differentiates you from a local maestri to an actual engineer. So that aspect, I feel that it's a huge responsibility for the academia to do this knowledge imparting, because I see in my own factory, when people come for us to interviews, they lack the very basic engineering stuff also. Sometimes I get shocked when I ask them some questions like what is a stress and strain, also they're not able to answer. 4 years of engineering has led them to nothing. At least I always prefer picking up ITIs, because at least they don't know too much of engineering about how the machine works, but they know how to operate the machine, how to get the work done through that machine. At least I'm happy with an ITI guy, because at least he knows his own limitations. But the problem with many engineers is this knowledge part has not been imparted to them well. And that is where there is a sense of lack of confidence. And again, every college is putting in a lot of personality development classes. Like, as I said, the next part, the attitude. We are forgetting the knowledge part. Our focus is very less on knowledge part, but there is too much of focus on skills and attitude. How will that come in? Like, how can I be confident when I don't have the subject knowledge? How can I walk with my very confidently and attend an interview if I don't have the basics of what I'm engineer supposed to know? So these are again things like, every college has these personality development classes and things like that. And there is so many behavioral aspects. There's a leadership skill, there is a negotiation skill, there is communication skill. So there's so much of skilling that is happening here rather than the basic knowledge that needs to be imparted. I'm so sorry to be this, but as a academia and industry interactions, this is what I keep interacting with everything everywhere. And this is what I keep telling. This is what industry needs. Industries are not training centers where they can train people and lose money, because an industry is set up with a motive of making profit. Academia, educational institutions are not set up with a motive of profit. They are not allowed to set up a motive with a profit. But unfortunately, the roles are getting reversed, because for us to survive our industry, we need people. So we set up a separate training schools and we set up some training, and where we are imparting a lot of training to the students, which is not needed. So these are some of the things which I would say, and this kind of an imbalance in the system where the knowledge part is shrinking, skills and attitudes are taking a bigger picture and a larger thing. I feel it's a very unfortunate part, that is, but sadly that is true. So at least some thought can go into this, how you can provide a 15 minutes of a reflection session for the students every week, to say, where are you, what is that you want to really do, and where do you want to go, unless we ask these kind of questions. Because as a society, we all are used to asking our kids, what do you want to become? And our kids very proudly say, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a doctor, I want to be an actor, I want to be something. But we are not asking what kind of a person you want to be. I'm sorry, I'm not teaching philosophy here, but then these are, as an entrepreneur, about with 200 employees around with me, and this is the practical problem I face every day, where I employ engineers, electrical, mechanical, and then I employ MBAs and a lot of civil engineers also. So with these kind of things, I'm saying what I'm saying. I hope you people are listening, because that's another worry for me whenever I'm doing a session online. I just generally don't do it. But when I agreed at that time, I was not very clear that the session was online. Only later I knew that it was a virtual platform, because nowadays I stopped doing virtual platforms post-COVID. There is no need. It's always good to have physical interaction, so there can be an interaction with each other. So I'll take a break here. I want anybody to please respond, whatever your inputs are. So if anybody can unmute and talk.
Dear participants, you may ask any question, kind of question to Madam in the field of civil engineering and entrepreneurship.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
And Dr. Amrita from GLB IK, ma'am.
Mhm.
Ma'am, my question is that what type of project or what type of work is doing students for that go for the entrepreneurship?
I didn't get you.
Which type of work students perform in lab or they can do, which is useful in entrepreneurship?
See, anything is useful. There is nothing like only this is useful for entrepreneurship. Anything is useful for entrepreneurship that way, because that is how the whole globe is going around. So there is a famous saying in Telugu, when a famous poet who said, "Kadedi kavita kanarham," means there is nothing which is not fit for a poem. Similarly, there is nothing that is not fit for an entrepreneurship. You can start anything. It can be construction management, it can be building materials trading, it can be a contractor, it can be a software in the civil engineering. So there's everything that is very much available. So how I can say only one field is very good or this thing. If you look at the thriving fields right now, as I said, smart cities, environmentally friendly projects, green projects are taking over a lot of emphasis. And then there is a lot of emphasis on how the most complex part is the sanitation in the cities. So how we are going to address with a huge population, like earlier we all had single buildings in a colony. So just one family living in one building, or maybe at the most 4 or 6 people living in one this thing. The same space is now taken over by apartment with 5 floors. So that means in each floor, at least 2 families you take. There are now 10 families living in the same place where earlier 4 or 5 members used to stay. So providing sanitation for such kind of people, waterworks, roads, buildings, everything has its own importance in terms of this thing. Yeah, you're asking me how you want to do it in your own labs to develop these kind of things. Then maybe it is worthwhile to give some kind of internship opportunities for people to design some green homes or design materials which are to look out for globally materials available which are going to be more environmental friendly, because that is the thrust of the day today.
Thank
And
you,
also
thank you.
develop some simulations and softwares which are going to help in estimations, costing, designs. Already it's all saturated, but then something which they can learn and then start something on their own.
Definitely, ma'am. Definitely. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks.
Madam, we have another question in the chat box. I will read it out. As a woman entrepreneur, what challenges do you face?
To be very frank, I don't look at many challenges, because I always looked at as a privileges, because you, especially civil engineering or the kind of work I'm doing right now in our own industry, which is all mechanical, there are less women compared to the other fields, like whether it's a food technology or a fashion designing or retail market. When you look at those areas to compare it to what I'm doing right now, in those fields, the men are more and women are less. So I always looked at it as a privilege, because when I go to meet somebody, they say, okay, a lady has come, so first let her come in and talk whatever she wants to. And at the same time, as a lady, women, as an entrepreneur, if you look at whether it's a bankers, whether it's with the bankers, just one second. Yeah, as a bankers also, they give a lot of credit, because that's how the governments are. Yeah, hello. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes. So I always had these privileges. That's how I looked at. Yeah, but definitely for any woman entrepreneur, it has to be walking an extra mile to prove that I'm at par with others, especially when it comes to technology. Because this is a mindset many people have that even if you go to any construction site, you have all men as project managers and all, and only women are looking at CAD, CAM, estimations and backward designing, quality. These are the areas where you see more women sitting in, and less women coming on to the field work. It can be various physical reasons or various other reasons that this is not happening. But for me personally, these have never been challenges. I always looked at them as my privileges. That, you know, whenever I go, I am definitely heard more. I'm heard first. And even in my own factory also, because as a woman, when I go and talk, there is a lot, when at least on the shop floor, there is generally the kind of things that happen. They don't happen because I'm there as a woman, and they tend to behave a little more decently. Yeah. So now let's come back to the last two slides, which I would like to bring in. So as I said, when we talk to engineering students, the thrust has to be on innovative technologies. We cannot say Me Too kind of a thing, but they have to think of what are the new technologies that are emerging and how am I going to be in touch with them, either it is online courses or some kind of an R&D that's been provided by the institutions. So now one of the trends is, as you all know, it's about the prefab structures. So it's no more about, like, you know, cast in situ, because of the place constraints. People don't want to make everything there, then they don't have facility for putting in in-house concrete mixing plants or batching plants. That kind of facility is not there. So they depend more on ready mix concrete. So that which becomes expensive. So now they are also going now to prefab structures. If you look at our entire L&T metro, or even you look at any of the flyovers, everything is most 90% of it is all prefab structures. So they used huge cranes to just bring in those material onto that particular spot and then fix it. Now, if you look at huge constructions also, they are all using prefab structures. So there's a huge potential for people to look at this prefab technology, how they can learn that and become entrepreneurs, because this is another emerging technology. It's not fully matured or fully developed, as I would say. There are a lot of conferences that happen on prefab structures and opportunities in prefab. So probably you could look around for such kind of conferences, send your students there, and they get exposure to that. And as I said, software development, which is a huge area, and that also with a civil engineer who knows the nuances of what exactly is needed in terms of building maintenance, and what kind of approach we want to take. For software is also for quality inspection. So you don't have to physically go and check everything, but then you just send a drone or robotize the system, automate the system, and then you'll also find the faults that are happening. So quality is also another area which was done manually earlier, and any small mistake also would result in a huge loss. But now with this kind of technologies, there's a lot of even I would say innovation, and there's a lot of emergence. Now the name game is all about tall structures. When there are luxurious villas and all coming in, but if you look at commercial, if you look at hospitals, you look at educational institutions, everything is going tall. So tall structures by itself, managing, either it is a MEP contractor or somebody who's just doing the scaffolding, or somebody who's just supplying the lifting arrangements, any such kind of a building for a tall structure, there's a huge potential, and there's a lot of business opportunities. So this is also, again, like there are a lot of seminars that keep happening on high-rise constructions, technologies in high-rise, and opportunities in this. So one can always attend them. The next comes the traffic management. With all the software, with all the smart cities coming up, there are a lot of importance for the traffic engineering. We all study traffic engineering in our BTech as just one paper or probably 2 semesters, but there is huge potential for traffic engineering also. I've seen many people developing softwares to manage the traffic, and then they have also seen a lot of things being built around that. So that traffic is not just the public traffic, even in a hospital, the people movement, like, which are the peak hours, which are the non-peak hours, how many lifts are needed, how many elevators are needed. Even at the design stage, there are some specialists who are doing the traffic movement engineering. So they design, like, in a mall, what is the peak hours where people will come, what are the cine theaters, and with the malls with cine theaters, which is the peak traffic. So how many lifts and how many elevators and how many escalators have to be put in. So these are also a very important study that can be done, motion study as what we say. So this also can become a very good business opportunity. And roads and buildings, as I said, now anybody who is educated, uneducated becomes just like that, an earth moving contractor or a road contractor. But there is a lot of scope if an engineer is coming in. And I'm very proud to say, like, there is this Anjikat bridge in Jammu Kashmir now being built, which is a very prestigious project. There also our company has supplied an equipment on the bridge to do the construction, during the construction, to carry the men and material, to inspect the bridge, to connect from one, it is between two ridges, like, there is a valley in between. So connecting that, the bridge, Anjikat bridge, is being built. It's the highest, it's on a very highest elevation. So we are supplying equipment there. So there is a lot of scope for such kind of, whether it is what I would say, being a part of such kind of projects, or somebody who is wanting to specialize such kind of things. And as I have been again and again mentioning, now the biggest challenge for all of us is going to be the sewage management systems. So how are we going to manage the sewage for the cities? And what is the disposal system? We all study environmental engineering probably as one subject, but there are masters who are, the people who are doing masters, especially in environmental engineering and sewage management systems and all that. So there is a lot of scope in somebody who wants to do these kind of things. And of course, there is another opportunity which is called as becoming a contractor. There is an institute called Contractors Development Institute in Hyderabad, which is in NAC in High-Tech City. There they conduct a 10-day program exclusively on how to become a government contractor, how to quote for it, how to do the tendering work, and how to do the project execution. So all that they are doing a 10-day detailed program. So probably getting there also would really help. And then if you look at a very small level also, doing some kind of a global research, getting some products which are more environmental friendly, which are not polluting the environment, and becoming a trader for such kind of projects also is good enough. If not anything, at least you can bring in such kind of products and then start selling in. And now another, these are some of the upcoming areas which I would say are very useful for, these are the emerging technologies. And unless you have the innovation in place along with the technology, Me Too kind of businesses are many. Just, factories are there coming up. A lot of logistics support is needed with now that is also another business. So with this logistics, there's a huge need for huge warehouses to be built. So which are again the kind of a prefab structures. So there is a lot of such kind of a business opportunities are there, which I don't have to tell you. And as I said, technology, innovation, and other things, there is, one has to be taught about what kind of impact they want to do on the market. Is it something very disruptive, like, how the Olas and Ubers have come in, and or especially the Swiggy have disrupted the restaurants business. And there is something called as very radical, very transformative technologies are the robotics, or the drones, which are being used to do the quality checking. So the manpower checking is coming down drastically. Or there is something called as a very sustainable technologies. So what we were doing yesterday manually, today it becomes this thing. So now the government has given this budget, the government has given a ruling that no more of manholes cleaning manually. This has to be the target that by 2025, not a single manhole will be cleaned manually. So it has to be totally automated. So this is a very sustainable technology. So you have to find how this has to happen. So these are some of the sustainable technologies that we can bring in. And there's something called as an incremental technology, which can bring in some newness, which is a gradual and continuous improvement on existing products. So same, like, as I said, same bricks become hollow bricks to something else. The scaffolding, which is now becoming more of the latest technologies that are coming from Europe and China. So these are all the same things which are becoming faster to, like, if the normal scaffolding to remove and put it is a huge task. But now if you automate it, or you have some other methodology to make it happen faster, that's going to save the money. So this jump, I think something called as a jump technology or something like that. So they are all there, which are coming from Europe. So because ultimately every building requires this scaffolding material. So these are some of the technologies that are coming, which are incrementally progressing. That ye bhi rahega, wo bhi rahega. This is also going to stay, that is also going to stay. So those kind of things are also going to be there. So these are some of the technology impacts that are going to have in our industry. And as I said, what it means to us, what it means to me as a person is, it's like knowledge about multidisciplines, then having that entrepreneurial mindset, and the ability to adapt to change. And the most important is the ethics. This I don't want to put it for, because all the faculty is there. Generally for students, when I do, I definitely put this, because it is also called as a CSR. This is not corporate social responsibility, but this is citizen social responsibility. I generally take this last slide compulsorily in any of my lectures, because I want students to know that it's not only for corporates, it's not only for some law maintaining people like police to have these responsibilities, but it is also for every citizen to respect and not speak bad about our country anywhere. And abide by the law. If they say red signal, stop it. If they say don't, without going helmet, don't go, then you better not go. If 3 people are not allowed on a wheeler, please, you have to wear a seat belt, please do that. So these are some of the law abiding citizens. That's important for us. That's where the Western culture you can follow, and that's where you imbibe a lot from the Western culture. Unfortunately, we are imbibing pizzas, and we are imbibing dressing, we are imbibing music, but we are not imbibing these kind of good qualities which the Westerners follow religiously, for being law-abiding citizen and protecting of environment and cleanliness. So this is another thing which every person has to be personally be responsible. And what are the social issues that are happening, to become a little more aware, and some amount of a volunteerism has to be put in. Everybody is busy, industrial visits, everybody is busy, projects and doing some kind of work. But then how and where do we inculcate the volunteerism into the minds of the people? It's not all about money. It's not all about what am I going to get out of this, but it is also about what am I able to give back to the society. So this kind of a volunteerism has to be inculcated in the colleges itself. It doesn't come out once the person comes out, but it has to be there as a student. And participation in the democratic processes, that is like, whether it's about going and voting, or it is about respecting the constitution, or respecting our country, not going and speaking bad about the country. So these are a few of the things which I generally tell every student. But I thought as a student, as a faculty who deal with students every day in, day out, probably just share my heart out with you, rather than this. I don't call it as a teaching session or any of this thing. I'm just sharing what I know or what I believe in. Yeah. So that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. I have one question.
Yes, sir.
I'm from the, we are all faculties, and
Yeah.
we trend what is going on in the education field. Many students are, parents are also joining their wards in computer science and all. From your lecture, I understood that many opportunities in the civil engineering field.
Yes.
There is a gap that parents or students are not aware of this. Okay, is it possible that you traditional engineering field people can conduct some kind of awareness, create some kind of awareness among the people, so that they understand these kind of opportunities?
Yes, definitely. But sir, what is happening for us as a whole country is there is a pattern of fitting into a comfort zone. Somewhere even I see in my own industry that, they have this mindset that if I work in a software company, it's 5 days a week, cab comes to pick me up and drop me. And there are pizza parties going on, weekend parties going on. Saturday, Sunday is myself. But no industry, if you look at any construction project site, they're working 365 days. And people are not willing to spend that kind of a hard work. So if you look at a metro project, or if you look at any project which is done by L&T or any construction project, only Sunday they are having off. Otherwise, till Saturday, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, they're working. So this mindset, how do we bring in? We can tell there are so many opportunities, you can make very good money. But that hardworking nature, people are somewhere became slaves of these comfort zones, not looking at innovation, technology, and this. Thanks to last couple of years where we are talking about entrepreneurship, where we are talking about the other areas, and software also, just like that, falling down, where people like Google, Amazon are removing people left, right, center, 3,000 people today being thrown out, or there are Amazon saying we are not hiring people anymore for next 2 years. So unless that kind of a threat comes in, we are only operating under threat. We are not operating with any kind of a proactive approach that, this is the new trends. So what I would say is, yeah, we are willing to come and do this from our industry aspect, like, these are the opportunities. But some responsibility lies on academia also. But what kind of placement people you call? You call Accentures, you call Deloitte, and you make even a civil engineer sit for those kind of interviews. So then how? When there are so many companies which are willing to come and do the campus recruitments, but your campus recruitment people don't reach out to them. They don't come to such kind of engineering industries. They want numbers. They want how many people are being hired by Accenture, how many people are hired by Deloitte. So they want to show the numbers to market your institution. I'm sorry to say this, but this is a reality that's happening. If you ask any construction company, whether it's a My Home, Aparna, DSR, BSR, Vamshiram, anybody, they all require fresh engineers. But there is a lot of hard work that is required there. So at least leave apart the employment, this thing, opportunities in entrepreneurship and doing it. Even for a normal job also, people are really thinking twice, because this mindset has to change that, sitting in a software company is so easy in life because the cab comes to pick me up or there are weekend parties. We are okay to do it, not in the final year, sir. I'm okay to do it even from the first year onwards, to brainwash the children that these are the things that needs to be developed.
Yes, madam. We will try to conduct some interactive programs with the students.
Absolutely, sir. I'm open for it, but do it from the first year onwards. Don't do it in third or fourth year. By then, people are already fixated. They're not paying any attention to anything else.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
To do, otherwise the imbalance will increase. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
Madam, one question from my side.
Yes.
Madam, there is a Char Dham, means Badrinath, Kedarnath. The transport is very difficult, and is there any new inventions or something going on in that area where there is a critical road transport system can be much developed, so that it is a pilgrimage, a lot of funds revenue can be generated, and lot of people can be used? Is there any focus on those lines, madam? Any means of transport from the civil engineering point of view?
Madam, frankly speaking,
Yes. Ma'am.
I'm not a practicing civil engineer at this, especially for roads and buildings.
Right.
But one thing I can talk about, like, whatever I hear from others and then talk about is there are some, if you look at Leh Ladakh, or if you look at Mount Kailash, or if you look at Tibet, they're all basically the desert areas, which are rocky. But if you look at Char Dham, Uttarakhand, it is basically the whole mountains are not rocky mountains. If you look at, they are lush green. That means there are a lot of loose soil that is there. And there is a continuous flow of so many rivers. Ganga, Yamuna, then there is other rivers, Alkananda, Bhagirathi, so many such kind of rivers are flowing all over. So when there's a continuous flow of water and there is a soft soil, if you do too much of construction activity there, or try to hold them by building bridges and dams there, which is again is the nature, things are not going to work out. Earlier days, we were supposed to walk to those places, but now government thought they'll get revenue. See, this is again another problem of revenue, always thinking in terms of revenue for everything.
Yes,
but there are certain things, natural things, which are beyond the control of nature and beyond the control of revenue. That is like, the soft soils, and because of the continuous flow of water, and there is 6 months of snow which gets dumped onto it, they become very, very soft. So there, if you're trying to build a bridge to stop the flow of the water, and or regulate the flow of river water, then obviously they're going to be little damage that's happening to the place. And that's where now today, if you look at Joshimath, it has become inhabitable. And every time we try to build more and more roads, and Joshimath is on the borders of China. So border security forces have also already laid enough roads to put their battalion there. They have already built enough buildings to put their system, these people there, that things are not very friendly. Yeah, maybe in future they may come out with some kind of a technology. I don't know, but if you look at Switzerland, where the similar kind of things happens on Alps, they have put in a train which will take people. There is a ropeway which takes people from down to up. So these kind of things are happening in Switzerland Alps. If you look at, that's the way the technology has been provided. Even in South America, in Machu Picchu, also to travel up, there is other ways, not just the road. I mean, not just the bus transport, because bus transport means, again, like there is no limit to the number of buses that travel. So these are some of the things which I would suggest, but I'm not an expert in research and development in building materials. All I know is about what I generally interact with people.
Thank you so much, madam. And a lot of innovation is been taking place every day by day. There is a lot of changes in this construction, and there is a lot of scope also for the innovations to happen in this area.
Absolutely.
It's really a wonderful, madam, taking in this opportunity to give us a lecture on this wonderful topic. I thank from my side behalf of the Gokaraja Rangaraja Engineering College. Thank you so much for giving the wonderful session, madam.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Padma, for inviting me for this. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Yeah.
Any questions from the participants? You can unmute, please. Anyone? Any question? To get clarified? Or you can post in the chat window. We'll just wait, madam, for a minute.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's already 12:15, so I'm sure we'll have other session coming in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no questions, madam. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Padma. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, madam. So I request all the participants to be back by 12:50 sharp and be more interactive, so that this event you make it a very much successful, and with your interaction only we can able to do a lot of wonders with this event. Otherwise it is a virtual mode. So please be ready with your questionnaire whenever there is speaker is there. Thank you so much to all the participants. Let us be back by 12:50 sharp. Thank you.